Hey everyone, welcome back to Unsealed and Revealed. I remain Terry Smith, your host of the show, and with me as always from way out west at the Sideshow Studios is my buddy Guy Klender. What's happening, Guy?
We're ready to unbox a
Yes,
figure.
boy. I told myself I was going to Venmo you $5 if you did that, and now I owe you $5. Okay, great. Also hanging out with Guy out west, but in a much deeper dungeon level of Sideshow, is my good friend Paul Hernandez, who is going to be mining the store today for us. How's it going, Paul?
It's going well. I've got no Tusken Raider noises for everyone, but I am here to let you know that, if you want to let us know your favorite Tusken Raider noise, you can do it on YouTube, the Later Geek Set Show Facebook group, Facebook and Twitch. That's where we're live. I'm hanging out in the comments with you guys. Happy Spooktacular Day 2. If you have any questions for Guy or Terry about this awesome piece, let me know in the comments, and I will toss them your way, sir.
And I'll be sure to catch them and then toss them to Guy, and we'll have ourselves a rousing game of hot potato, Tusken
There it
style.
is.
Yeah, we'll make all those great noises. I have to tell you guys, I don't know if I've shared this with you before today, but I'm a massive fan of Tusken Raiders. In fact, I recently did a video on my own channel where I counted down like the top my top 5 Grail pieces, and this are actually the top 10 collecting regrets, things that I regretted selling. And the number one regret that I had was selling my Tusken Raider premium format figure from Sideshow. So this figure that we're talking about today, since the Tusken PF is impossible to find in the aftermarket, is going to be a sweet, sweet consolation prize. So I'm very excited to see what Guy is able to do with it. Guy, reveal that to us.
All right.
Talk to us.
All right, let's take a look here. So first up, we do have our classic Star Wars box done in the double with the satin and the flat. Our cigar band, keeping with that warm yellow tone that we're seeing with the Mandalorian series of figures. So that's staying consistent, and a couple of different shots of the figure on there. Again, the wraparound style on that. Shoebox, up and off on the inside. Yes, probably the most classic and one of our first times seeing these guys, at least a close-up in the first film in this style. And yes, we're going to get that gaffy stick as well as others.
Oh, I've got his gaffy stick at the ready, my friend.
So this is a single tray ready to go on there. On the top cover is going to be the smaller attachment tray, which is going to have the additional bandolier as well as 6 more hands. So you have 8 hands in total on that. Then we are going to pull out, and while I pull everything out of the box, we're going to just set this guy up here and let Michael, our cameraman and producer, do some tight close-ups, particularly on that head sculpt.
While he's doing that, Guy, let me just take the opportunity to congratulate you on your fine fashion sense today.
Oh, why? Thank you.
As everybody may or may not know, we are in day 2 of Sideshow Spooktacular, our largest annual online event, and it's coming out swinging, definitely. We've got Guy. Sorry, Paul. Do you want to say a thing or two about that while we're panning up?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so we are in the middle of Spooktacular, of course. And again, you can see that awesome shirt that Terry is wearing, that I'm wearing, that Guy is wearing, that hopefully you guys will all be wearing very soon. Go to side.show/SpookyKit, get yours. Yes, look at that. Got some of the awesome pins here as well. Some of the stickers that come in that spooky pack. I actually put some of them on my water bottle already. So, and again, of course, this runs through this Sunday. So for those of you who, can't always make some of the events during the week, good news is we're going to have a lot of streams that are not during normal operating hours, but the ones we can tell you about, we've got a show at 1 p.m. That's a Cobbled Cosplay. 3 p.m. it is the Sideshow Staff Picks, where we show off some of our favorite picks. Then at 5 p.m. we've got that Sideshow show wrapping up the day. We've got giveaways, rewards, live streams, and of course, group exclusives only in the Later Geek Set Show Facebook group, side.show/geek group. Man, I've got that tattooed on the inside of my brain.
Dude, so clearly, man. I mean, look at that. That was smooth.
Paul, so it ends at 5 p.m. then? It's over at 5 p.m.?
Yeah, it ends at 5 p.m. You know, you don't have
nothing
to
to do
stay up
after that.
till 1 or 2. No, Guy gets it.
Yeah.
Guy gets it.
Yeah.
These
Totally
kids
just
these
hang
days
out.
have it so easy.
So really, I can sleep all week then. Maybe that's what it is. I do love it. His Spooktacular is really a lot of fun. I love the spontaneity as well as seeing all the new stuff. So,
same.
All right, here's our guy, our Tusken Raider, and or sand person for the old 3 3/4 Star Wars collectors. Okay, this head sculpt, number one, is incredibly cool. Amazing detail. That is all sculpted. Now, there's a lot of great mixed media going on in here between sculpt and fabric and paint with this. You get that leather look at the wrap around. I guess we're going to call it would you say it's a breathing apparatus? Do we know, Terry, since this is one of your favorite characters, do we know much about kind of the mask and how it operates or anything like that, or not really, other than it's really cool?
No, I haven't done a deep dive into that whatsoever, my friend. I just kind of just let my brain absorb it and believe it and just ride it out. But I just love the aesthetic of it all. I mean, obviously back in the day, they weren't designing things from the ground up the way that they do now. I mean, you're looking at those eyepieces there. They're very clearly some sort of ocular apparatus from some sort of lensed apparatus. I couldn't even tell you exactly what it was, but just the fact that they were able to bring real world materials to bear in making their costumes and making their props. I mean, lightsabers were essentially flash handles from old school.
From old cameras.
Would put a flash bulb on the top here and boom, it would fire.
I wish I knew what exactly I'm going to call it his harmonica. The little deal around the neck. I always call it the harmonica.
My guess was always that it had something to do with the respiration and trying to keep the air that they breathe moisturized, so they're not breathing that dry Tatooine air all the time.
So it's a humidifier.
I could probably do a deep dive. I have all the books over here.
Micro humidifier.
And just read it to you.
Okay. But back to the way in which the portrait is done. This is all done in sculpt and paint. And just really incredible. Jumping ahead to articulation, as you can see when I'm moving this around, that you have a lot of articulation. Of course, a ball joint as well as the neck joint there. The harmonica that we'll talk about is not glued on there. It does have some motion there. So when you're moving it around, working down, we get the outer cape, which does have those frayed edges. Now, this is a little bit cleaner look than we've seen on Tusken Raiders before, but that's the neat part, is these were, we understand that these guys are tribes, and there's probably a number of different tribes in different areas all over the place. So just like Jawas, I like that there's a little distinctions and changes. We have two types of bandoliers on there. The one, I kind of call it the shell holder, is the dark one underneath. And then the one over top is pouches. And then around the waist, you have the lighter color pouches. But this also comes with a second bandolier pouch. And so we can swap those out. And we can also remove the one here. So we do get the opportunity to kind of create three or more separate looks, depending on how you combine them all together. So this is another great army build.
That's pretty crucial. That's pretty crucial for my intentions, yeah.
I have a feeling, Terry, this is, let me think if you're doing the same thing I am, multiple of this, the Mandalorian, as well as when we get Cobb, because we have seen him teased. And if we can get all of those, we have that incredible crate scene. We get a small bag of sand from our landscape supply store, and we're good to go. We're good to go. At least that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I have to tell you that I use this stuff that's actually some sort of like it's like a filler for paving stones on one's patio deck or something like that. But it's a much finer grain than sand. In fact, it's not advised that you use it indoors because it's legitimately toxic. I think it can cause cancer or something like that. But that's what
I was going to ask you to send some to me, but maybe not, particularly through the mail.
You have to actually you have to actually use it to create your base and then put it over the top of like some glue and then let it harden. So it goes in a well ventilated area, and it has a much better read to it than sand. It downscales better.
Okay.
We'll talk about this later.
We'll talk about that later. I've taken the arms out to the side so you can see that inner cape and the inner wardrobe there. Again, done in that eco-friendly, environmentally friendly leather there, and then we have underneath the underrobe. Now the outer robe here that I'm holding does have 2 wires going down the side, and they are in the stitch seam that you see there, so we can work with that as well. Underneath here,
flowing in the breeze,
he does have some fancy desert khaki pants. He's a tucker. He tucks these into his boots. It's good to know. That is a cool fashion sense.
Actually, I think boots were actually made for that. That's actually their
boots
that was
were
actually
made
the
for
intent
tucking.
behind boots.
I thought they were made for walking, but that's okay.
Well,
good to know the difference.
Best if you can do both.
Speaking of those boots, we see those there. Like we saw on the portrait, this is a sculpt and paint. If we can get real close in on that, I'm going to kind of hold it up and let Michael do a close-up here for us on here. As I said, this is a sculpted and painted, done to give that wrap look, and you'll see that there aren't any cut lines or anything like that. This is not an articulated boot. Okay, so this is in one piece, and that's good to know when doing your posing. However, it does pivot. You do have a ball joint pivot and a little bit there and there, if you kind of see the gap when I move the foot there. You know, since we're down here, I know this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, and you know, that's hopefully you weren't sleeping. Sleep's for the weak, because we're jumping ahead.
Ooh, tread watch.
Bammo.
Already, man, that took no time.
Now here's a new style. We've seen we've seen some bare feet. We've seen all kinds of things like that. They've done it as though the wrap continues underneath somewhat. So you get that frayed fabric look on there. So it's not entirely flat. If I kind of turn to the side, you can see there's a little hints of ridge.
I was legitimately trying to imagine the other day exactly how Tuskens would go about the construction of soles.
I like that.
I mean soles of shoes.
Yeah, I like that. That's part of your pondering of the day. That's
something while I'm drinking
This is good stuff. This is good stuff. So now that I've we went down there, I'm going to lift that outer cape to show the back of the figure. You have the large split on the back. That's of course going to help a lot when you're posing the figure, doing any bends on the knee, that you're not going to have to worry about it bunching up. You can see nice tight seams on there. There on the back, you're going to see that there is a Velcro point. Okay, that is to remove that pouch. You'll see that there's one also on the under belt, kind of the cloth fabric belt that we've seen, and also one on the back of the bandolier to be able to swap those out. All right, trim waistline, apparently from a lot of cardio walking through the desert.
It's hard to walk in sand, Guy.
Exactly.
It is. It's so hard.
Hence the important big boots. All right, so that takes us a little bit through the outfit. As you can see, we are getting some different colors from the dark leathers, the more brown tone leathers. Some of the wraps around the feet and the head are a little bit darker, and then some different earth tones throughout the main fabric. Now, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to remove the outer cloak. That's going to let us show off articulation, but it's also to show off the detail work done underneath here. Okay, so to do that, as we've done in any figure like this, you're going to move the arms backward. No need to remove the hands really at this point here, as the opening for the sleeves is wide enough to allow for that.
How does it? How's the balance on it? Is the figure pretty light?
It's
top heavy, bottom heavy.
No, in fact, maybe having that kind of 3/4 fully sculpted boot like that gives it a little more heft, a little more weight to the lower. I'm not really kind of making any adjustments here to hold it, and I'm obviously holding it on a table that'll turn.
So it's pretty much in line with what we've seen with other figures then.
Yeah, correct. I think it's a design choice, and I think it also is probably for stability. Keeping that boot as one solid piece allows it to have that weight down there for any top heavy movement on that.
Or maybe just so you could stack 10 of them in a DTOF.
There you go, stackability.
Yeah. Plans within plans, my friends.
Let's take a look close-up wise here on the hands and the wrist. This again is fabric. This is all going to be actually done fabric, okay? And on your swap out hands as well. So they have the gloves and then the wraps on them. And you can see the way in which they kind of key in on the peg point. It's a very seamless type look. Now, this is actually a piece that will come off if you remove the hand you needed to slide it off, and you could tuck the shirt back in. That is meant to do that, but as you can see, it's all been done like that. There is a little stitched seam there, but that is just an incredible attention to detail that even on the additional hands that you're going to have, this one being the trigger hand, that is cloth wrapped around there. That's not going to be...
Really? That's exciting.
That's not a sculpted and painted. This is an actual cloth fabric, and that is on every one of the hands. The two that he's coming with, as well as the additional. We have fist that it comes with. We are going to have kind of gripping hands. We have a trigger hand for his long rifle, and we have kind of a pointing hand for the left. This one here. And then the hands that he comes with on him are a pretty unique kind of look. I'm going to turn the bicep to one of our pivot joints, and you see it's kind of a thumb down type deal that they're doing. It's an interesting thing, and that's going to help with kind of how you'd prop up the macro binoculars and things like that with the figure. So let's jump into articulation, and then Terry, we're going to pose, because that's what you and I like to do.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the head, that we've going to have a huge range of motion in not only the neck and the ball joint there, and then the cloth wrap doing a great job of covering it. Because this is not a tight suit, we can go even above 90 there, full straight out, backward. We do have a butterfly joint on the shoulder. You're going to have double joint on the elbow. You're going to have twist on the bicep, and then the traditional pivot point for a wrist.
Okay, so Hot Toys does not recommend going directly overhead full extension with the
we can do that. I have a feeling you're talking about, can we gaffy stick up and over the head? Oh, heck, yes, we can.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. How did you
that's
know?
exactly what we're talking about. However, this is our new dance move. I like that every time I go through articulation, it looks like I'm doing horrible dance moves that I don't know about. So
you're faking it pretty well, man.
Exactly.
If you don't know about it, you're faking it pretty well.
But we do get a lot of good trunk twist. That's got to be... That's got to be a dance move, right? And there's pose number one, folks. We hope you enjoyed the show. No, not at all. But you get a lot of bend there.
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
Take a look from front to back. A lot of movement as well. Let's jump down here into hip. Now, because you do have the longer cape, you may need to kind of hold and move that to the side while you do it. I'm going to lift it up so we can see that articulation. That you get a good,
this is definitely
very large leg
posing.
spread.
Yeah.
Turn to the thigh.
I didn't imagine that you could get that much, but that's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, there, and boy, if I could balance that one, right?
Woo, man, yeah.
Could I balance?
Wow. I've got staying
okay,
alive going through my head.
That's micro balancing, but again, we got a double joint there on the leg.
Just full disclosure, I pretty much always have staying alive going through my head. So it's like on repeat. Yeah, I know.
Well, you can tell by the way he walks. And that pivot on the ankle there as well. So I'm going to set him off on, first up in the accessories. It's going to be our display base. Chrome nameplate on the front. Oh, look at it. Pling, catching the light like crazy. Tusken Raider. Little footprints in there. We've seen that style before. I like that it's on there. And so I'm going to just set that back. Now, I did show off the bandoliers and the hands. So let's get to one of the coolest things we saw in the first film because it was just so different. And that's going to be the gaffy stick. Great paintwork and application on there, given that wood-like style. We actually got to see this being used in Mandalorian as a toothpick, so for some bantha dentistry, I believe. Was it banthas that they were doing their little dentistry too?
That was indeed a bantha.
There you go. It's a bantha dentistry
that
tool.
Was delightful.
Yes. Here, the metalwork done on here is spectacular as far as the paint application.
It looks like metal. Mm-hmm. It looks like metal.
And it does tell you, be cautious about that point. That's the gaffy stick we first saw back in '77. Now we get a new one with a little bit more of kind of a curved long rifle end on here. And I'm going to ask Michael to go as absolutely close as we can on the handle on this, because this is what is really pretty incredible. And it's the detail and paint application down here in the handle. I'm going to move that over. Look at that. That is all done as crosshatch design, as though it's been carved into it.
I mean, but it's obviously sculpted here, right?
It's well, you say obviously, but that's pretty darn amazing. They could have 3D printed that on there, or it being done as a paint. No, when I'm rubbing my hand over it, that's actually part of the sculpt, and then done probably with a paint wash or something like that to really make those pop. And it just is such a. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we would have seen in in a museum-esque kind of thing. This has that mace end to the tip, and you can kind of see that it does have the dark around the two ends, kind of having that weld look there. That's just a really fun new design on the gaffy stick.
It's just so we're clear in this show, everybody out there in the webosphere, anytime Guy says the word mace, we all have to shed a tear for Samuel L. Jackson's character.
This is true. Okay. This is true. We're going to take a moment
Okay.
on the long rifle that you have, and this is incredibly long. Definitely one of the longest accessories.
It's called a cycler rifle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, it is.
Cycler rifle. Yeah.
All the way up to shoulder as far as height. So know that you've got that when you get. But let's take a look at that detail. That cool stuff that Star Wars would do, where they would attach things like wires and everything else onto existing stuff. Look at that handle. Now that one is all done as paint. Okay, this is probably supposed to be like a brass or metal inlay that would be done on it. So I love the idea that these guys go to like history museums and things and look like that. The shoulder strap is going to be done again with that V lever with a single pouch over it. Look at the detail, the little tiny double holes that would be for the buckle, and that's long enough to fling up and over the shoulder. All right. I loved these when we saw the characters using them in Empire Strikes Back, and so I think it's fantastic to get these. They are something that exists in the galaxy. Probably one company that supplies macro binoculars for the entire
They look brand new.
Star Wars galaxy, but they are done in that kind of olive drab. They do have a bit of sand-like look to them. You see that there is some weathering on the underside there. Okay, the detail work there in the front, or I mean on the eye panels, and that is a glossy front, almost a reflective. Yep, you see it caught the light there as well.
Obviously, the macro binoculars that Toro Calican was forced to surrender by Din Djarin to the pair of Tuskens that they encountered on their way through the desert.
Now, there we go. This was a neat thing to see. They listed in there as black melon, okay, and they are hydrating from it. Again, incredible detail. I mean, you're seeing such incredible paintwork and sculpting done in there, and then the divot and break on the end, and then the interior having a glossy, liquid-like look. That's again, very cool, neat accessory. Last close-up we'll do as far as an accessory will be that bandolier we talked about, and just the leather work on this. To do something that small in those colors, to have the raised little clasps on there. Now they don't open, but this one does open with Velcro on the back.
That's encouraging.
That, as I said, if you read the last thing in there, boom.
Did I? No.
Yep, you read these, Terry Scaries. For Spooktacular, we're calling them Terry Scaries, and that's the new name for instructions. It's going to tell you how to swap out those belts, and we'll do something like that.
Or you could just be a real poser and dive right in.
And dive right in. Well, sleep is for the weak and posing is for the meek. I don't know what I don't know what we're talking about.
What?
But
that's freaking branding.
That
was branding, Guy.
Thank you.
Nice. Painful.
Thank you. If I can get 2 tokens at the arcade from you guys next time, that will be payment.
Hell, I'll give you 3.
I'm totally taking Guy off the Christmas card list for that one.
Oh,
no more
the
Christmas
skee ball
cards for Guy.
tokens I shall win.
Just kidding.
But
I don't send Christmas cards.
But anyway, that
Totally
takes us through all the accessories, our posability, and the incredible design on him. Now, Terry, I know we're going to be doing some posing, so if you want me to put the outer cloak back on, or if you want me to swap things out, let me know before I do any fashion sense.
Give me a second to think about
All
that,
right,
Guy.
I'm going to give you a second.
I think that before we actually dive into the posing, I think the producer Alan might actually have something he wants to contribute to this show today.
Yes.
Is producer Alan ready to go live today, or is he
Producer
still
Alan is in the house.
We need to give him some time. Yeah.
Producer Alan is a big fan of the Tusken Raider. This is a figure that he's liked and a character he's liked. In fact, Sam, do we have anything that would show the love that Alan has for the Tusken Raiders? I think we have something like that. Producer Alan is one who's been a big fan of Star Wars from the get-go, like so many of us here.
Dang.
But I believe he's working on something there. While we're doing that, I am going to spin around the figure and show. Boom, there's one option. Remember I said that you can remove the outer belt like so. This is just, again, showing the incredible detail of those 6 pouches on there. Now, things like this are removable, but there are things like, I wouldn't worry about the main costume as far as a removable.
Hey, Guy and Terry, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Look really good.
We can hear you, Producer Alan.
Because it's spooktacular. You can't hear me, Terry?
No, I got nothing.
Right.
Oh, well, okay. I will speak for him.
While they're working on that,
this is Madame Leota style. Because this is spooktacular.
All right, because it's spooktacular, I thought I would share one of the world's greatest
I'm pretty jazzed.
Halloween costumes. Go ahead, Sam.
All right, the greatest Halloween costume.
There it is.
Whoa!
Yeah,
there it is.
This is me as a Tusken Raider right after Star Wars came out. In 1977, maybe 78. This is the inspiration that Hot Toys used to sculpt all of their things. My mom made this costume for me out of toilet paper rolls, tin foil, and pieces of fabric.
Dang, man. See, you broke the mold.
What's the belt?
Back in the day when everybody was all about everybody was about the Star Wars costumes, it was Stormtroopers, Princess Leia, and Darth Vader. Maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you busted out with a Tusken Raider?
That's right. I actually won the school Halloween costume.
Well, of course
I
you
hope
did.
so.
How could you?
I have a question for Producer Alan. Why did you choose Tusken Raider? Like, of all of those, of all of those.
Best.
There you go, Paul.
Thank you. What did I say?
Now look at you.
Yeah. Paul, on the show, if those of you watching, there are no stupid questions. Paul, however, you apparently have asked the one and only stupid question.
It's what I'm here for.
It's good.
Well, I don't do a lot, but what I do is,
I do is pull out the one.
So.
I like that. That is perhaps the first cobbled cosplay, which is going to be part of Spooktacular. Be part of that. Watch it, love it. It's not something I thought I was going to be so into, and now it is by far one of my absolute favorites. All right.
Two things. First and foremost, producer Alan and I have never met, and when we finally do meet in person, that just elevated my greeting from the traditional handshake to the straight-up high five. Second of all, we got a comment from Steve on Facebook. He says he had to look it up, but the harmonica thing is in fact a moisture trap. So, nailed it.
I am going to go with, I just think that there were times that Figuring Dan needed a harmonica solo, and this guy would walk in and they would jam in the Mos Eisley's Cantina and just really
name drop Figuring Dan, by the way.
Just really hit some serious blues notes, talking about just how sand gets everywhere and they hate it. Because there were people on Tatooine that apparently did not like sand. It got everywhere.
Ooh, name one.
Without further ado, Terry, would you, Terry Smith, please stand up. Show me what we're going to do here, sir.
Okay, I'm just going to disconnect to take care of my audio issues here. And as I said earlier, I have in fact brought with me a gaffy stick.
What? Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Cosplayed the gaffy stick.
Yeah, this is in fact my gaffy stick. It's also a guitar.
I was going to say, is it a guitar as well?
All manner of things. And you can see it with my broom. I actually go old school, obviously. I don't trust those newfangled ones.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I think that everybody wants to see what this thing looks like with the gaffy stick over the head in our traditional. It's a combination celebratory and attack posture.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, we just need to get both hands over his head, and I want the legs to be slightly more than shoulder width apart and straight up, just like that. Not
all right.
Straight up, mind you, just a little bit of a bend. And kind of the impression that I want to give is that he's sort of in mid raise of the gaffy stick, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. So Terry, what I did because of that, while you were going over it, was I actually pre-attached just now the hands to it, and I will adjust
Very good idea.
Up there. If this doesn't work, obviously we can go the other way, but I kind of wanted to get it in there. The hands there do open very nicely. They are a softer rubber, so I was able to open those up and put them around the gaffy stick. No problem. Again, remember, you do have, like I said, there is that fabric over there. So, wash your hands beforehand when you're going to be handling this guy. All right. I'm going to raise hands straight forward. Straight forward. I'm going to turn the bicep a bit.
While
bend.
you're doing that, I just have to say that one of my favorite things to see on in the comment section on YouTube or whatever is when I bring up some sort of a melee weapon of any sort, whether it's a sword or a broom or a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
But the comments, the fear that it generates in people watching that I'm going to actually swing that thing and knock over something more valuable than myself. It's a lot of fun. So keep them coming, everybody. It's great.
Yeah, Unsealed has taken years off my life from stress of just knowing you are going to knock down one of those kick-ass statues behind you.
One of these days, man. One of these days.
I stress about it constantly.
Do you? Okay. You're among many if the comments section is to be believed. So yeah.
So Terry, I just wanted to show that I've only pegged in one so far, and that, as you can see, it holds very, very well. Okay.
Okay.
It's just a little.
Okay. Yeah, it does.
I wanted to do this show that
I'm getting ideas too. I'm getting ideas for adjustments that I want you to make as we move along here. But
all right,
this is really going to look even. I didn't dare hope that it would look as cool as I think it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dang. Okay. Apparently they want to hear my Tusken cry. Oh God.
Well, that's.
I'll do that. I'll do that with the next post. Okay.
Well, you do your thing, man.
I want to get back because I am gonna have to get back up here in a second, Guy, and give you a couple modifications. I'm sure because I've kind of changed my mind about how I'd like it to look.
Okay. Well, why don't you?
Are we reapplying the hand now?
No. What I'm doing now is, and this is probably a good thing to show. I talked about that the wrist wrap.
Yeah.
Is not sewn on there or stitched on there, so I'm kind of tucking it back in.
Okay, got it.
Which is easy enough to do. You're going to give it a little twist, but obviously know that when you're extending the arm, you're going to get that.
That is a hot tip.
Yeah.
That is a hot tip. Yeah, that's nothing insurmountable.
No, nothing insurmountable. In fact, what I'm going to do before I do that is probably get it right at the height and position you want, and then do the little tweak.
And I just want to point out to everybody watching right now, there is no such thing as insurmountable when it comes to 6 scale. Everything can be fixed. So we are masters of our domain. 6 scale people are. We have to become handy at basically handymen of 6 scale figures in order to make it work some of the time. Just finding ways to circumvent collisions, or if you have some sort of a costumed wardrobe malfunction, just finding ways to fix that or circumvent that. It's actually a lot of fun. It's actually part of the appeal to me.
Well, yeah,
being able to,
it is part of the fun. It is part of the joy of working with them is going, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I know I'm going to need to bend the forearm bicep that way, so now I'm just holding in place, doing a little bit of tuck.
While you're doing that, should I get up? While you're doing that, should I?
Yeah, why don't you get up and show me the adjustment you're going to want to do?
Yeah, I'll actually just do the Tusken Raider cry first, and then, or maybe I'll do the adjustment and.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa, we're going to double it up.
Yeah. Audio check. You guys hear me okay? Can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, so let's see. Making sure I got plenty of room for this. But again, I think that what I want you to do is obviously have it held over his head, because he holds it way back behind his head, and he's looking down at Luke. So that's kind of where we want to go with it. We want him to be like looking down at an opponent. So we're going to tilt his head down once you get this pose done. But I don't want him standing just straight, because that's dumb. When you just have it standing with the feet side by side and his feet overhead, he's just a flat plane, and it's kind of dull. So what I want him to do is like he's just stood up, and he's raising it both in triumph and as well as an attack cry. And he's going to have that thing held over his head, and he's just going to be going. My dog's freaking out right now.
Yes, I love that.
Your mic wasn't a fan of it either.
I love it. Terry, if you could for me, when you had your hands up and over, can you turn to the side? I want to see just how far back you've got them.
Imagine that I'm standing up, so I got that. So just kind of having him lean ever so slightly back.
Okay, we're going to lunge.
Like a little bit of a lunge. You can see that my torso is leaning back just a little bit, and he's got that thing way over his head.
All right.
So the mic was a little bit stressed there for a little bit. Yeah.
No, it caught everything fine.
Hey, man.
It was just compressed. Like you peaked so loud that your mic was just like, ah.
I think it was fantastic. I think it was fantastic.
So I didn't do it. Okay. I should have seen that coming. Okay, good.
Terry, I am going to.
I can't wait to see the replay of this.
Exactly. This is one we're going to go back and watch.
I don't typically go back and rewatch my performance on Unsealed and Revealed, everyone, but this is definitely one for the books. I'm going to have to take a look at that and maybe screen cap it for posterity.
I am going to, because I said that we don't have an articulated foot. Let's spin around there and look lower. Because I don't have an articulated foot, that was having me balance right on a very fine edge. Great. So I am going to try and use the stand for this particular one. I think what I would do next time, if I didn't set them beside me, is use my little tweezers to tuck the little wrist bit in there. But you get the idea, and more importantly, you got to hear Terry do that incredible yell.
That is so very important to
which should be a ringtone.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I would have had time to rehearse that.
I like this.
That's a great foundation. But everybody can see what we're getting at there is that I think it's important for the display that you don't just have your figure just flat to your viewer and just have him standing there. It just looks really, I don't want to say dull, but it could be better than just having him stand flat like that. And yeah, you can see that there's a challenge to actually finding that balance. But given more time and also, I can bring up that is one of the key factors that you enter into when you're posing a robed figure, is that you don't have the ability to see where the body is, where the legs are, and so it becomes its own challenge. You frequently will have to just lift up those skirts and actually get a better idea of where your legs are before you actually finalize the pose, straighten out those robes, and look what he's done with the whipping of the robes there. That looks really cool. Right?
Yeah, I wanted to show that's where I kind of lost the balance on him, was that I do have, like I said, the wire,
great.
There's one on either side, not on the outer. We're used to them kind of being on the outer edge of a cape. They're actually in the two stitch points. So if I spin it around here and you see that seam line going there, that is where your wire is at.
That's
but
cool. That's going to be put to good use when I get my
boom.
hands on. Yeah.
It is the Terry Smith pose.
That's great.
Terry Smith's action pose number 1.
That's great work. I love it.
Maybe I should turn it there.
That's exciting. Do we have time for a second pose? I think we do, because this is a classic, the one that I have in mind here.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to neutral him then again.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the fist on the character, as I feel you may want me having him holding things.
Yes, I think in the, let's say, the right hand, we still want to be gripping.
Okay.
For the left hand, what do you have for like relaxed or expressive hands? Remind me.
For left hand relaxed.
Just like a relaxed hand.
Okay. That is this one that I've shown. This is what they're kind of doing for a relaxed hand. This is that kind of thumb down deal.
Producer Michael, can I get a close up look at that?
That's kind of our relaxed hand.
That's perfect. That's
all right.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's just use that. Thanks, Michael.
Woohoo!
All right.
All right. So we're going to go relax with that.
Yeah. So because I'm still lamenting the loss of my Tusken Raider premium format figure, I'm going to go ahead and do an homage to that excellent pose.
All righty.
I legitimately think that it's one of the best premium formats that Sideshow has ever created, and I really, really miss having it on my shelf. The decisions that we make when we're hard up for cash and we need to make them. So, in order to make this work, I think you'll have to have him pose slightly off the stand, Guy.
That's fine. Let's move the stand aside.
So I'm going to bring in something that I can use to elevate my foot, which this is available at sideshow.com. It is the Replicade 1942 6-scale video arcade game by New Wave Toys. I love these things.
I think you and I currently have just about all of them. We missed a couple of the first ones, but
I'm missing a handful. I'm missing like 3. Turn this up a little bit.
All righty. So you're going to stand on a collectible box. Most people would.
No, I'm just going to put my foot up on one.
Okay, I was going to say the scariest part of Spooktacular is that. Okay.
What we need is for now. Let's use. What have you got there? Do you have anything in his hand yet?
Not yet. I have his. I can do.
Let's take the cycler rifle and put that in his right hand, because we're going to do the exclusive variant of the Sideshow PF.
Got it.
Okay.
Rifle in hand.
All right, moving back. So the way this is going to work is he's going to have the rifle over his head like this, and the line of it, which you can't see, is actually going to be going pretty much parallel with his shoulders. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to want to take his torso and bend it back like this.
Okay.
All right? And this hand is going to be back here in front of his chest. And his torso is going to twist to the right.
I want to see you deliver a pizza in that stance.
I have delivered a pizza using that stance. And believe me, you don't want to see it.
All right. Now, you had the leg up a little bit there on
His front
something.
leg, yeah, will be up.
I guess if you and I were we'd find something to rock from the garden or something like that to put in.
Now, I'm saying that you should try to do it with the stand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So one foot would be off the stand and the other would be on the stand.
Oh, got you what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, see? Yeah, we got it.
I see what we're doing there. Again,
I would try to put that stand underneath his robes.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's a little high up to do that. Let's see if well, I'm going to see if I don't turn it quite so much.
Well,
yeah.
In that case, we don't need to have his foot up. We can just have both feet flat on the ground. And so
but let's give it a bend, though.
When it comes to 6-scale figures, you need to be able to make adjustments when you run into limitations.
Okay.
And this is one of those occasions.
Now let's take a look there, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, I would rotate his torso instead of to the left like that. I would rotate it to the right.
Rotate it to the right.
And then lean him to his right, like he's leaning, like he's doing like a side bend.
Leaning him backward.
And then adjust. Yes, and then adjust that head to compensate, like he's still like he's looking down.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I can get a look at the full figure again. That's pretty good. Now, what I would do, one of the things I would do is notice the angle of that right boot. It looks like it's twisted to the front. I would bend that like probably 45 degrees towards his right. The right toe, 45 degrees to his right.
So it's more straight out.
No, the right, guy. That's the left.
I just now turned it to, this is to the right. That's what I did. Yep, to the right.
No, the right foot of the toe in the right.
The
foot,
right
the
foot.
We're talking about the other foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want that outward.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just turn the whole leg then.
Okay. Now again, he's looking like he's it's looking like he's leaning forward, like lunging onto his left leg. So check that left leg to make sure that it's completely straight for you.
Oh, well, because you had it up for a bit, that's why I
Yes.
left it in a bend.
Yeah.
But you'd like to remove said
flat,
bend.
correct that. Yeah, definitely. Okay. There's a comment here from YouTube. Tiger Eyes, as a new collector, this is my favorite show. Helps me understand the functionality of the figures and how to visualize everything about being a poser. Thank you, Sideshow. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, it's always good to have another poser in the mix.
Exactly.
There can never be enough of us.
Nope.
Okay, so I'm just going to take one last look at this.
I want you to take a last look at it, and I'm just trying to work a little wire robe.
Is his right leg bent, Guy? Let's have no bend whatsoever in either leg.
No bend in either leg. Kaboom, kaboom.
Oh, cool. All right. And again, as typical, when I'm going to go ahead and step back here just to show you what I'm trying to get here. But other way around, okay. But what I want to see is when he's. I don't want him doubled over at the waist at all. I want that lower back to be completely straight, like he's standing up tall and really extending his torso, and get that hand way up there like this. So he's leaning back and kind of leaning into it, rotating into his stance.
Okay. No, I need you to stand back there, and I need you to almost like you're going to 360. So you're going to pivot and pivot.
I really got to get myself a life-size.
We need a large turntable for you. Boom. Okay.
Don't have him doing this at all. Just really take that lower back and thrust it forward.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
When you're talking your lower back, you're talking whoosh.
Yeah, there we go.
All righty.
Okay. You're hell bent on doing that now, huh? Okay.
Gosh darn it, you wanted a foot up. I removed the stand, put the left foot over the peg part, give it a little bit of that. I'm just trying to play around with what you'd originally hoped for and what we're able to.
I think everybody kind of gets the gist of what we're after here. And if not, well, you can always Google the Sideshow Collectibles Tusken Raider premium format figure, marvel at its majesty in the photos that result from that search, and make any adjustments or to it that you would like if you want to recreate that. Wow, hey, look at that. I've never. Who's this guy? Yeah, what's he doing?
He's just a man who's very interested in this dude here with, who's doing trunk twists, and maybe they're doing a pose off.
Cool.
Could be that kind of thing.
And he really looks like he's giving that Tusken some attitude, or like he's photobombing. Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, that's great, Guy. Thanks very much. And
thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. For Paul, you've been great today, minding the store for us, and then throwing those comments my way. I appreciate that. Producer Alan, producer Michael, super producer Sam. As always, you guys are totally on point, and we appreciate you. But more than anybody, we appreciate everybody who took time out of their day to tune in and watch us play with action figures, because it's really legitimately one of our favorite things to do all week. Thanks, everybody, and until next time, don't forget to let your geek side show.
Bye, everyone.
Boom.